The Championship is back later this week, ladies and gentlemen, and I for one can't wait to get back into all the action. Later on in the week I'll have my Week 1 Championship score predictions coming out, so make sure to go ahead and stay tuned for that. But before we get into any of that action, we have some more transfer rumours to go through and digest in today's video. Had quite a few done deals go through over the weekend and over the past few days, all of which will be discussed in today's video, and everything else currently going on around the league. As always, do get your thoughts in the comments down below, everything that's going on with your club at this point in time. Check out yesterday's video. It was a fun one where I went ahead, tried to predict the championship table and how I see this season unfolding, but as always I want to get your guys' views on everything, and without any further ado, let's hop into the done deals. Stoke have been fairly busy over the last few days. They completed the signing of Southampton's Will Smallbone. He's coming over on a season-long loan. An advanced midfielder, gives them a little bit more creativity in that midfield and as an alternative to someone like Nick Powell. A tidy player in possession who's got a handful of Premier League appearances to his name as well. I quite like this addition for the season for Stoke. And we also saw Stoke completing the deal for Newcastle's Dwight Gale. Plenty of championship interest in Gale. We touched on that in the last transfer rumour roundup video. But in the end, it was Stoke who won the race for the 32-year-old striker. Now, questions will be asked over his availability and injury record because he's not played all too much football over these last couple of years at Newcastle, but when he's on the pitch, he is undoubted quality. He's got one of the best minutes to goal ratios in Championship history. If Stoke can consistently get him on the pitch and create chances for him, he will score goals at this level. There's no doubts about that from me. We've seen Rotherham continue to bolster up their defensive options with the addition of Grant Hall coming in. We also saw Huddersfield complete the loan signing of Tino Anjorin coming over on a season-long loan. He was out on loan there at Huddersfield during the second half of last season from Chelsea, made 7 appearances, scored 1 goal in that time. We saw Burnley complete the signing of RUMOUR. He's coming over from Manchester City on a permanent basis. They were in need of a #1 shot stopper going into this season, and it seems like Muric will fill the bill for Burnley. He's an interesting goalkeeper really, because in his younger years was really highly rated by Manchester City, has had several loan spells out to varying degrees of success. Obviously we have seen him in the Championship before. He had that little bit of a disaster of a loan spell at Nottingham Forest. He had that clanger of a debut against West Brom and only made a few more appearances after that point, but by all accounts he's coming off the back of a really good loan spell last season out in Turkey. 6'6" goalkeeper, absolutely massive stature on him, and is the sort of goalkeeper that company has seemingly been after, so it'll be interesting to see how much he's actually matured since the last time we saw him in the Championship with Nottingham Forest. We saw QPR complete the loan signing of Taylor Richards coming over from Brighton for the season. Quite like this addition really. Undoubtedly he's got a lot of quality. He wasn't really able to showcase that all too much during his loan spell with Birmingham last season, as he just wasn't on the pitch for all too long. But in that QPR midfield, with how we expect them to play, is another option to go ahead and back up the likes of Chiar and Willock. Blackburn completed the signing of Barnsley wingback Callum Britton. We did speak about this one on the last edition of the Championship rumour roundup, but this one has since been confirmed, and a quite savvy pickup from Blackburn, I have to admit. I think this is a feasible replacement for Ryan Liambi in terms of Britain's skill set and what he showcased in the Championship last season, and all, you know, albeit what was a very difficult season for Barnsley, but a young player who fits into the ethos of what Blackburn are going with their current recruitment strategy. I quite like this pickup. And we also saw Hull complete the signing of Benjamin Tete coming over from Turkey, another one of their Turkish League signings from this season. Scored 7 goals in the Turkish Super League last time around, another option up front for Hull this season. 6'4", has a couple of appearances for Ghana under his belt as well. But those are some of the done deals we've seen go through in the Championship over these last few days. Now without any further ado, let's hop over into the transfer rumours. We'll start out with a little bit of Middlesbrough news, as we like to on the channel really, but they're still in hot pursuit of several striker targets, one of which is said to be Rodrigo Muniz of Fulham. Now this was a whole transfer saga last summer. In the end, Fulham won the race for Muniz when it seemed to be a 50-50 battle between Middlesbrough and Fulham. Fulham are now in the Premier League though, and Muniz's game time last season was quite restricted really. In the minutes that he did get, he chipped in with goals, and his minutes per goal ratio was absolutely fantastic. And Borough being in the situation they are at the moment, looking to go back in for Muniz, and reportedly so, Fulham would be willing to send him out on loan if they went ahead and found a front man to replace him for the season. I think it would be a terrific move for Middlesbrough, particularly if he is one of the 3 reported strikers that they are looking to bring in. You know, even in what was a fairly limited game time for him last season in the Championship, he showed his class within that Fulham side, knows where the back of the net is, and a very technical striker who I think will get on very well in the Chris Wilder system. Bournemouth are still said to be continuing in their pursuit for Middlesbrough's Marcus Tavernier. I'm sure that Bournemouth fans will want Middlesbrough to be doing everything they can to keep him tied down. Borough reportedly wanting at least 15 million if they're going to go ahead and sanction this deal. Now, Chris Wilder has come out and spoke about Tavernier. He said that the player is still very much in his plans for this next upcoming season, but things could change on that front if the bid was to be upped by Bournemouth, who continue to be interested in him. He's quite a unique player really for what Middlesbrough have in their squad at the moment. And Middlesbrough themselves aren't exactly in a situation where they have to sell. You know, they've just had a massive cash injection from the Jed Spence deal, which I'm sure will finance some further deals which are to come later on in this window for them. But it's an interesting transfer story nonetheless. My team Preston North End are expected to complete a deal for Spurs forward Troy Parrott on a season-long loan deal. I'm quite optimistic about this one actually. We have seen Parrott previously in the Championship. He had a loan spell with Millwall a couple of years ago. Didn't really go to plan that one. He was only 18 at the time, was coming off the back of an injury when he first arrived at Millwall, and ultimately only played a handful of matches, only started 7 games for them in that season, and wasn't a great stylistic fit in terms of what Millwall are after for a striker. But last season and his loan move out to MK Dons looked really promising. One of the most creative strikers in League One. 15 goal contributions in total. I think he'd be a nice addition in terms of what Preston are after for another forward to play that sort of supporting act to Emile Reese. I think that those two could form a decent partnership. Ryan Lowe has spoken about wanting 2 more options up front though, so I'd expect Parrott to be one of those options, and potentially so still in the market for someone like a Callum Robinson, although this could suggest that someone like Cameron Archer isn't on the radar anymore. Obviously that's up to Villa's discretion in terms of what they want to do with him this summer now. And North End are also in talks with Manchester United wing-back Alvaro Fernandez. I think this one would be a terrific move for North End as well. We've already got Robbie Brady signed up down that left-hand side, but as his injury record would suggest, we need other options down that left side. And someone like Alvaro Fernandez, really high ceiling, I'd be absolutely all over this sort of deal. 19 years old, coming from Man United. I think a few loan additions for North End in this window could absolutely bolster up the quality within this squad, and he's been spotted at Deepdale, and I'd be quite hopeful we get this deal over the line for the season. There are plenty of Championship clubs who are interested in Newcastle United. Attacking midfielder Elliot Anderson at this point in time also got plenty of interest from Scotland as well. He's coming off the back of a terrific loan spell with Bristol Rovers last season in League 2, where he averaged a goal or assist every 135 minutes. Still only 19 years old. A handful of the Championship clubs that I've seen mentioned, Bristol City, Huddersfield, Luton, as well as a bunch of interest from Scotland as well. Whoever lands him is getting a very promising player. It's looking like Reading could be landing Naby Sarr on a free transfer. Interesting player, Naby Sarr. At his best, a very capable defender at this level, albeit it always feels like he's got 1 or 2 mistakes in him when you watch him. But in Reading's current situation, I think a pickup from someone like Sarr would be a decent bit of business for them for the season. Blackburn are currently angling for a loan move for Liverpool youngster Tyler Morton, looking to secure him on loan for the season, but Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp are yet to make a concrete decision on him for the season, whether he is going to be in Jurgen Klopp's plans in and around the first team, or he will go ahead and sanction that loan deal. If he was to be allowed out on loan, you'd imagine that Blackburn would be right up there in terms of where they are in the queue. Blackburn seemingly have a decent working relationship with Liverpool, especially after that Harvey Elliott loan deal, so this would be one I wouldn't be surprised to see going through. Swansea have been linked to Spurs midfielder Harvey White. He's not played all too much football during Spurs' pre-season campaign and is expected to be allowed to go out on loan. The move to a side like Swansea with the sort of football they play could be a good fit for him as they look to add a little bit more depth into the middle. Kiko Feminier is set to leave Watford and head to Villarreal, but Watford do have a ready-made replacement in mind, with Mario Gaspar coming over on a free transfer. A player with real pedigree, played in European football competitions for Villarreal, and in his own right a bit of a Villarreal legend really. Made over 400 appearances for the Spanish club during his time there. He's now 31 years old, so will add, I suppose, a wealth of experience into that Watford back line. Certainly a player who's got a lot of pedigree about him. Burnley have been linked with a move for Blackpool's Jordan Lawrence-Gabriel. Reportedly so, Burnley went in with an offer around about 750k, but Michael Appleton has been quite quick to talk down any of those claims, claiming that they are currently wide of the mark in terms of Burnley going in with an initial bid. Reports coming out are said that Blackpool value him at pretty much 3 times what that potential first offer was worth, around about that 3 million mark. Burnley seemingly keen to add another fullback also to this side for Vincent Kompany. We've already seen quite the turnaround of that squad so far, but in terms of Blackpool at the moment, I mean, they are quite thin on the ground in terms of fullbacks at the moment, so they'll be keen to keep hold of Jordan Gabriel, but time will tell on this one if Burnley do pop up some more money for him. And reportedly so, Burnley have also gone in with an initial offer for Met centre-half Boubacar Kayuse. Now, Burnley are probably in need of a little bit more experience in their back line, and he would certainly go ahead and add that. 25 years old, playing in the top division in France, coming off the back of a good season by all accounts and a successful AFCON campaign for him personally. Burnley was said to offer around about 2.5 million with add-ons, but the French club are said to want closer to the 10 million mark, so time will tell if there is any budging from either side on that one. But guys, there we have it. That will wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in and for digesting all of the recent transfer activity going on around the Championship. As always, anything that I've missed, let me know about it in the comments down below, and we'll give it a mention in the next video. Apart from that, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.